that gave me some roots of understanding certain things of Christianity, but not very deep ones. And so
Yeah.
in my rebellious nature, what I thought was that I became an atheist for probably 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Lutheranism, except for my mother grew up that way and was raised that way when she was a kid. And so when I became Orthodox, she said, so that creed you have, we had a creed when I was Lutheran. It's kind of similar to that. And I think we had liturgy. And I was like, really? Because liturgical worship was new to me. It's like I was in a mega church with bad music and the pastor yelling. So I assume, and now I know from doing my own studies and then hearing you elsewhere, it is there are some similarities to the Orthodox faith, basically. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Lutheranism today is becoming more and more fractured. So I think probably when your mom grew up, there was way more continuity in terms of liturgical piety, how clergy dressed, for example, how the services were handled. I think my generation, and I'm 42, my generation was on kind of the beginning of the end of that era. And so I jokingly say it was my parents' generation who said, our kids really want contemporary worship.
Okay.
What was actually true was they wanted contemporary worship. We didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But this is how they pitched it for a whole generation of adults. But I think at its core, Lutheranism, frankly, Lutheranism is defined by not being Catholic. Martin Luther, of course, breaks off from the Catholic Church. People debate what the dialogue was like, but the successors to Martin Luther clearly had dialogue with the Patriarch of Constantinople about some of their similarities in belief. Now, at the end of the day, we are very different, but the fact that it's a creedal denomination, they have a creed, they recite the Nicene Creed, clearly the Western version of that, but they recite the creed. There is an intrinsic liturgical piety. There's a history of fasting, very much, pro-life, pro-mother, pro-baby. So these things are, I find, easy bridges for people. If they already believe baptism saves you, right? They already believe water baptism matters. We can debate whether or not it's quote unquote valid, but they believe that they have Christ's body and blood. So it's a much easier gap than your average Reformed Christian, Baptist, that kind of thing. The roots are there for someone to, I think, easily become Orthodox from Lutheranism.